Now, Muhammad Ali manifested these in the three great battles that he had to fight. The first of the great battles was to succeed in a country that was racist, to succeed in boxing. When he came out fighting not only in the ring, but against the media, against the establishment, and declared his identity. And in that way, he was a role model for every one of us. Now, I know many African Americans took him as a role model, the ability to speak out. But my brothers and sisters, how many people do you know, other than African Americans, who are playing down, toning back, dialing down, hiding their Muslim identity? One of the most impressive things Muhammad Ali ever said was, "I am America. I am the part you won't recognize, but get used to me. Black, confident, cocky. My name, not yours. My religion, not yours. My goals, my own. Get used to me." He was painted by his detractors as someone who was just a loudmouth, egomaniac. But I say to you, my brothers and my sisters, I see here not a loudmouth egomaniac, although it may seem that way to the people who are not used to being spoken to by what they think of as their lessers. But I see someone who sees himself as the servant of Allah only, nobody else. Entitled to his own name. Entitled to choose his religion and not be forced into the religion of those around him, even if that's by social pressure. The thing that hurt him most was when he adopted the name Muhammad Ali, a beautiful and glorious name that some people continued to call him Cassius Clay. When Ernie Terrell refused to call him Muhammad Ali and kept calling him Cassius Clay, Muhammad was so upset that he tormented Terrell in the ring. He would keep beating him and shouting, "What's my name? What's my name?" You know, as Muslims, we're told that we're entitled to an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. But we're encouraged to be merciful. That's hard sometimes. But I can understand. What was hard for Muhammad Ali was that he had become a Muslim. He had devoted himself to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And here was someone who would not even do the formality of calling a person by the name he has chosen for himself. But he won that fight. He won so many boxing matches, but we're not here to talk about sports. I want to talk about his second big battle. And that was the battle against an unjust war. Muhammad Ali is seen as a fighter for civil rights. There were many people fighting for civil rights at that time, from Martin Luther King to Malcolm X. But fighting against the war, that was what will really get you into trouble. And Muhammad Ali refused to serve. And he claimed status as a conscientious objector. And this was at first rejected by the courts. And they rejected it because they said, "You're no pacifist. You Muslims, whether of the Nation of Islam variety or the Sunni variety or the Shia variety, you don't say you'll never fight. You say there's sometimes you're going to fight. You just don't want to fight in this war." And Muhammad Ali said, and I apologize if anybody's offended by this, but it's what he said. He said, "Ain't no Viet Cong ever called me nigger." This was an unjust war. Muhammad Ali was declaring that it's his right as a Muslim, under the freedom of religion given in the United States, not to fight in an unjust war, that he didn't have to say, "I'll never fight." He didn't have to say, "I'll never fight in the last days when the Armageddon takes place." He didn't have to say, "I'll never fight if my country is attacked. I won't fight if my people are attacked." He didn't say that at all. He said, "I will not fight people who have done nothing against me. I will not be the aggressor." And my dear brothers and sisters, this is what the Qur'an commands us. قَاتِلُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ الَّذِينَ قَاتَلُوكُمْ وَلَا تَعْتَدُوا إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُحِبُّ الْمُعْتَدِينَ. Fight in the cause of God those who will fight against you. But do not be the aggressor, as Allah does not love the aggressors. So this was indeed the command of his religion. And in this country they say we respect your religion. And if your religion says you can't fight, we'll give you some peaceful alternative where you don't have to fight. But they didn't in his case. No, they took away his boxing title, and he lost 3 of the best, highest years of his potential as a fighter. The courts used his own testimony and his own statements against him. They said that he indicated that he did not oppose all wars, but he would be willing to fight in what the court called a theocratic war, or a war in which he was fitted to fight by God. When the Supreme Court took the case, initially that was their position. That wording came from the first draft of what they were going to write, ruling against him. But then, alhamdulillah, because Allah is with those who patiently persevered, I'm telling you that that's the point of my sermon, brothers and sisters. Allah is with those who patiently persevere. A young law clerk pointed out to one of the justices that there was no difference really between Muhammad Ali's selective opposition to war and that of the Jehovah's Witnesses. And the court had already ruled that the Jehovah's Witnesses were exempt from the draft. This was clear-cut discrimination against a man who was black and was Muslim. And Judge Harlan, Chief Justice Harlan, decided he would change his position. And this caused a 4-4 split in the court. Unfortunately, the court, not wanting to have a 4-4 decision, sidestepped the issue and had him acquitted on a technicality. But he was free to fight, and he was free to regain his title. But this was not his biggest fight. My dear brothers and sisters, his biggest fight was yet to come. That was the fight against Parkinson's disease. And that is the toughest fight of all. It's the fight against something within ourselves. You see, Allah says, patiently persevere, have faith in Allah, pray to Allah, which is relatively easy to do when our oppressor is another human being. But when the oppressor is our own body, then the weak person begins to have doubts. The Qur'an describes these people. They say, why is Allah punishing me? What have I done to be punished? Muhammad Ali, he was a great noble man. He fought for the cause of justice. He fought for his Muslim identity. And now Allah gives him one of the most humiliating diseases a person can have, where you can't even speak. And remember, this is a man who loved words. He wrote poetry. And now he can't even talk. So is he going to turn his back on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? No. He remained true and faithful and continued to work for the cause of Muslims and for the cause of the oppressed peoples, especially his own people in the United States. Even while he had been silenced, his faith was strong. He patiently persevered even against this horrible disease. And his victory there was the greatest. When in 1996, he stood with trembling hands from the disease to light the cauldron at the Olympic Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia. And people all over the world saw that. It was not Muhammad Ali who was silenced. It was his critics. It was the bigots. It was all the people who said, question him and his motives through all these years. They are the ones who have been silenced now. My dear brothers and sisters, let us take a leaf from the life of Muhammad Ali. And no matter what trials and challenges Allah puts in our way, let us maintain our patient perseverance.